Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Marius Estreize speaking, and welcome to today's What's New 2024 SolidWorks event. By virtue of introduction, I'd like to introduce you to the three Dassault Systems SolidWorks employees we've got on the call today, who will be acting as presenters as well. First up after me will be Jaco Janse van Rensburg, based in South Africa. And Jaco is my technical specialist, based in South Africa and working with me for the past 8 years in South Africa. Joining us on the call is Azamat as well. Azamat is based in our France office, and Azamat is heading up business development in the Middle East and Africa. So there's close synergy and working relationship between the three of us. Me, myself, Marius Estreize, based in South Africa, and I'm responsible from a sales perspective for the SolidWorks brand in Africa. So we work tightly together, the three of us. Again, welcome and thank you for putting some time aside today, ladies and gentlemen. The objective of today's call is to give you a high-level overview of our portfolio, but more so to show you what is new in 2024. Every year we've got a major release coming out this time of the year, and there's massive R&D investment from our side to make sure that the enhancements that we showcase here today makes a big difference in the efficiency and proficiency for you from a workflow perspective when you take the latest version of SolidWorks back to your company office. So at the end, after Jaco, Azamat will announce some good news that he would like to share with you as well. So please stay tuned and stay on. After Jaco, Azamat will take the microphone and he will take us through the news he wish to share with us. And then I will do the wrap up and thanking at the end. So with that being said, Jaco, can you please take us through the What's New 2024 content?
Thank you, Marius. Just a tester. Can you hear my voice? See my screen?
We can.
Thank you very much. So, yeah, thank you for a brief introduction, Marius. Welcome, everybody, to today's What's New session. It will be a very high overview of what is covered for What's New Launch 2024. As you can see on my screen, what we will use today is one of our customers' data sets and how he achieved his design abilities and his fault findings and whatnot using our software. So let's start off with an introduction video of the customer, and then I can show you the portfolio. So I just want to mute this. So this customer of ours is Boet. This guy used to be in a vehicle accident, but he was a very huge sports activist, loved the outdoors, and is passionate for cycling on the outdoors. So he's decided to develop himself as a bike that he can use off-road. But the challenge didn't stop there. So he needed something that is rugged, that can go all the terrains that he needs to go, and have the same felt and feel to it as a normal mountain bike would have, the strength, the capabilities. So he started off with an initial design, and as we expected, ran into design challenges. So he started acquiring the SolidWorks software, and from there onwards, his product just getting better. You have now 3 different type of development products in the market for different type of customers, automated systems or a hand-driven unit. He since then started his own business, manufacturing and exporting these cycles to different clients and customers, making him a very successful businessman. And as we speak, he's actually also busy working on a 4th iteration of this bike. His feedback on this video, unfortunately, there's no audio, that his feedback was without the use of SolidWorks and the capabilities of the SolidWorks portfolio simulation solutions, he wouldn't have been able to have come this far in his design cycles with such a short period of time. He's also moving, using our software, exporting to his partners, customers, stakeholders, and they share data with his manufacturing, with purchasing, with his other team members. So as we go through the portfolio, you guys will see that how he achieved this moving forward. So the focus of today is pretty much to improve productivity, focusing on design, how we can make our designs better, have a better end product at the end, and then expand, like the Bowie team, expand what we have and pretty much use what we have and use the SolidWorks portfolio to make our products better for our end customers and have a quicker time to market. A short overview of what we will cover is some of the user experiences, parts and features, some enhancements in sheet metal, our assembly environment, obviously some of the important drawing changes, how we can do some renders for our customers if we want to render. And obviously, if we want to do performance changes to see how something would behave under certain stresses and certain factors. So without further ado, let's start off. At the end, there will be a time for questions. So please refrain your questions till the very end. So on 2024, we have focused a lot on performance. So every year, performance is a big issue, big improvement for us, especially performance with working with larger assemblies, larger parts, and visual assemblies. When we do renders, when you want to rotate a part, when you want to insert something, we've put a lot of effort in working with higher performance. So the customer has the capability now to have different setting options to set his performance. We also now have a few more export save as or export capabilities as different types of file formats. So the type of files that we can export to a customer or to a client or to a vendor has improved also significantly. So as you can see on the screen, on the left-hand side was the previous versions of SolidWorks without the hardware acceleration. And as you can see on the right-hand side, having a good graphics card, having a good machine, I used in my hardware accelerator. I have much more better visual performance on my Bowie assembly. So let's take a look at some of the parts and features enhancements that made this possible for us. So I have now the capability to set the preview in my sketch environment, so where I can actually put designs on. I'll show you in a short video clip just below this. But the biggest win for us for 2024 was I can now down save. So usually on a 3D package like this, it was not possible to save down from 2024 to a, let's say, 2023 version or a 22 version. So now we can actually do a down save, hence those feature was built into my previous release. So, which is a huge win for us and our customers. When we look at simple part designs, if you look at just the simple features, our feature tree have expanded exponentially. There was just a few functionalities, and this year, since 2024 release, I think the feature tree has expanded almost double. So mass calculations has been a huge factor in working with parts and the assembly environment. So let's take a look at some of these examples. So previously, if I add a part and I want to do some cuts, revolves, features or functions with it, I pretty much used to have a sketch, and I would then just cycle on it. But as you can see in my example over here, I had a feature function on a specific part, and I just want to do invert. So I can have an invert function of a sketch, which was not previously possible for part designs. Also on the same part, especially for the manufacturing side, is I can now have a cylindrical or a square bounding box. So I can define then the material around the specific part. So let's say I want to manufacture this part. I want to send this off to my CNC machine. I can then tell procurement, this is the part that I want to machine. This is the bounding outside material that we need to order, and I can make it part of my part list. So it makes it much easier for procurement and for material ordering. Some nice features for hole enhancements. So we have a hole wizard. We can put in intelligent data for hole annotations, hole creations. So as you can see on the preview, I can put hole positions from a sketch. I can use the pattern, and I can then deselect which holes I don't want to be part of that selection. A great enhancement that I personally like is the hole wizard, that we the linear pattern that we have more control over. As you can see here, we just have two simple features. I want to pattern this. I want to pattern it in two directions, and I want to pattern it using to follow a specific shape. So just to show that again, I'm taking that pattern of mine. I'm going to make it symmetry around the one axis, and I want to follow a certain part. So it will follow actually the curvature of this part, which was not also previously possible. So I can then take that specific part and cutoffs, and I can now actually create surfaces from geometry that does not really exist. So let's say, for instance, I want to use this for a 3D printer, or to have that 3D printer support. I can have an invert selection, create a surface from that, and use that then as my supports when I want to do 3D printing or anything in the line of manufacturing that side, or if I have to do a solid machining or whatever. One of our big ones, as explained before, I can take my part design and I can save it down to a previous year release version. This down saving capabilities is for part design, for assembly design, and our drawing. So it's not just for part environment or not just drawing environment. And then if I want to use specific parts in manufacturing, so I can take a part and convert it to a multi-body part. So this works especially great when I do manufacturing or machining. So I want to do a machining just on a specific part, but I want to have a lightweight design, because in the end, this is going to be one part. So I would one assembly at the factory, but I can then create this as a multi-body assembly. I save it off as a one part, and I can machine and manufacture on that multi-bodies separately. Let's take a quick look on what our capabilities enhancements changes was at sheet metal and structure systems. So if I have a tab and slot feature, which is a functionality inside SolidWorks that allows me to do end treatments for sheet metal activities, I can now propagate those tab and slot features. As you can see over there, it was on the right-hand side. I can show that again. So I'm going to take that tab and slot feature. I'm going to propagate it over to the right-hand side. So I don't have to reselect everything. So it's pretty much when I have to create a sheet metal box, I want to have the tab and slot feature over there, and it creates that indents for me for my laser cutter or for my punch machine to create for my manufacturing processes. Also, a great tool is I can take a standard part, I can put a rip functionality in that, and create a simple flat pattern, basically from here directly into sheet metal for manufacturing purposes. Fold, flatten, unroll my assembly just by a simple click of creating a rip in that assembly. A great tool which I love is the new stamp from 2D Sketch. So I'm just creating simple functionality, a 2D Sketch extrusion, and I convert it to a stamp format. So I used 2D capabilities, a normal square rectangle, which I drew. And from there, I used the sheet metal functionality and said, listen, I just want to use this as a stamp feature. I put in the stamp values. So using macros, I have my stamp capabilities, making it life way more simple in the sheet metal manufacturing industry for us. One big enhancement for our structures is end treatments. Previously, I had to do end treatments one by one. Now I can select all my end treatments simultaneously. I can select what end treatment I want to do and pretty much get that end treatment on the whole assembly done for me. So let's take a brief look on what the big enhancements we have this year for assemblies. Except for performance and speed enhancements, there's also a few nice, very useful advancements that we have for assembly. So for instance, I can set my assembly for inserting floating components. So I set that as a floating component, and I can now animate without having to put different weird constraints or weird dimensions on it. I have now a floating assembly just by using the floating assembly function that we have in 2024. Another great feature is using the width mate feature. So if I have a part that needs to fit into another part, but I need to have specific spacing between those parts for free movement purposes or for gusset purposes or for spacer purposes, I can use the width mate function, and I can say center this part between those two faces, and it will automatically calculate those distances and will put that part exactly in the center between those two frame parts. Also, if I have specific pins that needs to work on specific areas only, I can have a mate reference. So we call it intelligent mate. So those rivets can then only fit in specific areas. So if I have specific parts or specific components that only work in specific areas, I can predefine that mates automatically, and you will see, as you can see in the preview, it snaps to that mate. It will not fit into other holes. It will only snaps to those predefined values I have set. So, but I can take this further, but I want to take this now back into my drawing environment. So I can take custom components. So I can take my components, put a component reference into that part. And when I go back to my drawing, I can actually bring in that custom references back to my drawing. Says these pins need to fit in the front of this assembly, and that pins need to fit in the rear. Again, it works very good when I have specific components that only work on specific areas, and I can send this this technical information then back to the machine, the shop floor or the assembly floor where it needs to be assembled, and the people will know exactly where and how to assemble this without any confusion. Another great feature that I love to use is the defeature function. So I've designed this model, and my customer wants to see what we have, or we want to use this as a placeholder in a bigger assembly, whatever. So I can use the defeature functionality. So what it does is it allows me to decide which intellectual property I want to remove from this assembly or sub-assembly, and it will only then show what I want to intend. So it makes it two things. It takes away my intellectual property, and it reduces memory for a lightweight placeholder for if I want to use it in a other portion of my designs or other sub-assemblies, which make this defeature functionality very useful tool to use. I can also add flexibility into the movement of my assembly. So I just want to see, oh, this one is not playing, sorry. So I just want to add flexibility to see what is the movement of specific parts within the specific assembly without clash detections, without interference. I would simply select the flexibility function, and as you can see in the preview, the front axle I've moved with my limitations, so I can see if there's interferences, will it work, will there be any clashes, and so forth. Previously, this function you would have put in a lot of constraints, a lot of constructions. Now it's just a single button, which is a huge one for us as well. If you can quickly look at drawing and documentation functionality. So previously, okay, so if I have specific properties that I want to link into my drawing, I have to previously have to either type it in, or I have to manually override my drawing. Now I can add those properties into my designs, and then I can pull that properties back to my drawing, making it interactive, and then making it more intelligent. So when that property or that dimension or that name changes, my drawing will update automatically accordingly. Sometimes when my design changes, my dimensions seems to dangle. Previously, it was always difficult to find out which dimension is not really at its right place. So now in 2024, I get a little preview with the green color that shows me that dimension is not at its right place. When I click on it, it gives me a red indication of where the broken link is. I can just click on my new dimension, and it will reattach those dimensions for me. Chain dimensions, there's a big enhancement for chain dimensions as well. I can just select the chain dimension functionality just on the selection on the portions that I want to create the chain dimension, and it creates the chain dimension automatically for me. So sometimes we get a dimension that was changed by someone. It was overridden in the drawing, and I wouldn't know. I would have manufactured this only to learn that it doesn't fit. It's wrong. But now, as you can see, if I get a specific size and I override those dimensions, it will actually change color in the drawing environment. So I would then know, oh, okay, this dimension has been override with a specific value. Then I can investigate why, or will it still fit, or will it still work? Saving me time and saving me a lot of money, throwing away prototypes because of incorrect dimensions. But sometimes we need to manufacture directly from the 3D model. So in 2024, I can now have my whole tables inside my model, inside my 3D design. It doesn't have to be a drawing, so I can pull a whole dimension table exactly straight from my 3D model. And similar with the parts and assemblies, as explained before, I'm also allowed to save this down to a previous year release and just rename it according to my needs. But what if I have designed a part and I want to create visualize representations, renders for my customers? So as you can see on the image on the right, this is actually not a photo, but it's a 3D design with a rendered background that was done in our product called Visualize. So a lot of enhancements has been made on the way the ray tracing has been done, the way the lighting has been done, keyboard shortcuts has been updated, and more flexible libraries, more easy to use libraries, more customized libraries has been brought into Visualize this year. A reorganized library provides all appearances in a new format ready to download just by drag and drop. Appearances will be organized into their own subsets with only the applicable settings shown. However, each material is built on the full enterprise shading model, which has controls to make complex and nuanced appearances. So I can have my own libraries imported in, I can create my own colors, I can use the extensive library that is part of the install, or I can download different colors and appearances. And just by dragging and dropping those appearances from my library directly back to my model, it will automatically update that appearances, and you will see that the course thread of the tire has changed just by bringing in those properties from outside. The quality of the renders have also changed significantly. So these qualities often has been made use of image textures, maps, DPSR formats, and now with the 2024 release, the way the processor takes these and develop and compute these renders, I've saved a lot of time and effort bringing in those appearances. So I don't need such a high-end machine anymore to do those high-end renders. I can take my custom properties, just bring it in from there, or I can take external properties that I've designed myself. Any image I can think of, I can bring in as a background, as a texture, and I can use this back into my custom renders that I'm busy with. But setting up your scene can be time consuming. Parts of the renders can be taking a lot of time. So in 2024, it dramatically reduces the time with a revised manipulator. So consolidating and highlighting, the new manipulator looks similar but offers a much cleaner experience. So if I want to have a specific representation of my assembly, I would simply use this manipulator and then select which parts and files I want to use. I can just pull it out in a presentation format, and I can create photorealistic renders of how to assemble or how to view or how this part would come about. I can scale this in each direction, and then I can incorporate this then back into my main assembly, incorporate this back into my main design, and it gives me a nice presentation, nice overview of how this would look like if it has been uh, dismantled. But several from our elements has got a facelift. So we we like the new preview settings. So more complex outputs such as interactive rendering has been simplified, as well as animation frames can now be used as interactive inputs, which open up all kinds of creating options for interactive playback. So I can play with the colors, as you can see on the screen, and then once I hit render, I can now start render my assembly. Some animation changes. So there's a lot of control that I have on my output before I can start the render. And as explained before, there's that video of taking the frame construction, taking it out of the car, opening it up, rotate it, put it back in. So it creates very nice videos renders for my end user, showing the product that I'm going to give to him. Big enhancements has been made on the background sunlight environments, import of textures environments as well. So as we can see in this preview, displaying a 24-hour cycle of my vehicle in a specific place, it can show then, okay, this vehicle has been standing here for 2 days. This is how it look once the sun comes up, the sun goes down, taking different angles, creating really realistic renders from this model of us. Then we would have a brief look of data management. So data management is very core to our business because if we have a design, we have to do something with it. We have to keep track of it. Who's making changes to what? Who have last work on a part or on a model or on a drawing? What versions do I have? Revision and version control, life cycle control. All can be done with using the word PDM. And also, if I need to do ISO certifications, I have to have history of my design iterations, and PDM is the perfect tool to do that. But as previously mentioned, that we have put a lot of effort in designs speed. You will see in my next video that, as you can see, if we compare the speed of PDM 2023 compared to 2024, there's significant changes of to how quickly and how effortlessly we can do imports, file changes, design copies. And as you can see on the left-hand side, that the PDM 23 is about 3 times slower than compared to what we have achieved in SolidWorks PDM 2024. So I have now the capability as well to have specific folder permissions for users that don't have CAD access. Previously, some of the files, if a user don't have specific PDM licenses, he was not able to see or to preview some of the stuff. So now I have the capability to give some external users viewing rights as well for PDM and specific files. I can also now, which is a very great tool for me, is I can use color controls with my lifecycle states. So if I can put all my pending approvals in red, I can put all my release parts in blue and work in progress in yellow. So I can have with a very quick interface overview to see what my progress is, where is the backlog in my work file, who's sitting with what. So with a very quick and with as you can see with the video, I can, with the drag of a slider, I can see, okay, pending approval is sitting at marketing or machining shop or whatever. So I can have a very high level overview very quickly of what's happening with production. And also I can have no right view by visibility. So if a user don't have specific rights and try to log in, I can get a notification and to see, okay, someone has to try it and to log into a specific view that is not allowed to see or not allowed to have access to. But as I explained before, the management of this motorcycle, this bicycle, they also explained that simulation was a big part of their design process. They wouldn't have come this far without using our simulation portfolio tools. So SolidWorks simulation enables you to optimize your design, determine product mechanical resistance, ensure your product durability, topology and natural frequencies, and test heat transfers and buckling and instabilities. It can also perform sequential multi-physical simulations and high cycle fatigue simulations. So our simulation portfolio is very big. So I can now have more. In our 2024, our biggest enhancement was the mesh concentration capabilities. So I have pretty much more control of how I create my mesh, where I focus my forces, and what do I do with the mesh and the mesh outcomes, which resulted in two things: better simulation outputs and a much quicker animation or cycle time when we do the mesh calculation, the calculation time. Because some areas we would have more focus points, and some areas less focus points, and I can control in that specific area how I want the mesh to be focused. We have also enhanced a lot of, especially in added bearings, when we have calculations for bearings, bearing designs, and the support on that bearing with a more quick and more interactive simulations. I can now, a lot of effort and a lot of time has been put in just to focus on, if I have an external bearing with external force and I want to concentrate on that area, usually the input to calculate this in the past was way intense. In 2024, it has been simplified just by a few clicks. But that's just in a nutshell where simulation stops. We can do plastic simulation. So if you in the injection environment, do remotes, do plastic injection, there's 3 different options for plastic injection: for the molds, for the flow of the plastic, and for the outcome of how to create those molds, assistance creating those molds. We have that options. HVACs, if we have specific airflow in a specific area, heat, cold transfers into HVAC systems that can be simulated. Liquids, if I transfer liquids in a big vehicle, the sloshing of the liquids inside that vehicle, the flow of liquids inside the system. Frames, structures, if I have the frame design and I put a specific load on a structure, what my outcome will be. Like I explained, our simulation portfolio is really big. If you would like to know more about this, we would gladly assist to show you in depth. And lastly, that I want to show on the SolidWorks portion is our electrical capabilities as well. So we have for the newcomers, we have 2 different types of electrical, which is electrical schematics, which is a 2D install base. I can do 2D cabinets, which is not previously possible. I can do 2D layouts, cable lengths, all the cable intelligence, in treatments to that cables can all be done in electrical 2D. And then I can do advanced routing in my designs as well. I can decide, do I want to do an automatic route, or do I want to follow a specific path along a specific route? That route needs to follow that frame. So I can decide I want to create a specific path for this wire. And then from here onwards, I can then calculate my length of the cables, the strength of the cables, the end conductors, all those intelligence is built into AutoCAD Electrical. SolidWorks Electrical. A big enhancement in our drawing environment is to create automated electrical drawings with balloons, with the intelligence built into that. That was previously not possible. This used to be a manual process. Now we can bring those balloons automatically in as well. But from now on, moving forward, we need to focus on our design. All new licenses will have a portion of a cloud services. So the cloud services would allow us to communicate better with our customers, communicate better with our stakeholders, have better browser viewers. I can do markups. So we want to focusing on how we communicate changes and alterations to our peers, to customers, and to our team. So our design team have different needs. Many wants to communicate more efficiently with their partners. Some needs to better ways to secure storing and revise their data. And yes, the others are looking to provide structures to their team processes. So how do you solve these needs without creating or taking a backseat to everyday file management tasks? So with cloud services, there's a convenient tools like share a file. So we call it share and markup that allows you to remove the friction associated with sharing your designs, both internally and with your customers. Simply indicate whether you'd like to import on the design or how you'd like to share your design with and the feedback you're looking for. There's no file attachments or viewers to download, just a notification with the link allowing controlled access to your content just from a browser. Dimensions can be taken, sketches can be made on the model to communicate design ideas, and markups added from multiple views to convey manufacturing suggestions. When finished, comments captures the markup and can be used to request additional information. The best part is that you never have to leave your SolidWorks window. You can access any comments and markups right from the task pane. They not only contains the annotations that we added, but remember the orientation of the model as well, making it easy for you to understand your feedback. When it's time to make the design changes, Cloud Services has built-in revision management that is as easy as saving the model and drawings. Simply add a note, indicate what the changes are, and your revision is securely saved. So on the drawing, the revision table automatically updates then for you with your changes comments. Plus, you can track the progress on your design by simply updating the status. No need moving files from folder to folder, from server to server, just a convenient tool designed to make your life easier and keep your focus on your designs. So when a new revision is available, you can choose to share the drawing as a PDF with your supplier or update existing share with your new design. Either way, you're in control and access of how you output this file. So the SolidWorks portfolio is a powerful hub. Powerful search capabilities allows you to find assemblies on your design with ease, fully supporting your favorite features like mate references. When it comes to collaborating with your team, each member can lock a portion of the file and nobody else can work on that file. You only have access to that. So at the end of the day, we actually make it to the top. It has been a long journey, but it's in our record books. Big changes has been achieved. We have big progress. Our customers have great feedback on the What's New events. So I would like to urge you to contact us if you would like to see more on anything of this, any additional things that I didn't show. You are more than welcome to contact us on this. Yeah, and if there's any questions, I don't know, Azamat, if you can see if there's any questions in the chat, maybe you can. If alternatively, you
Yeah,
can
I
contact
see no
us
questions in
afterwards.
chat, but yeah, I encourage everyone to write your questions, and we will try to answer them during this webinar. Yeah, chat is available. It's just in front of you, and you can write the questions. I see some. Hello, thank you for your presentation. Do cloud services replace PDM, especially in terms of collaboration and file management?
Okay, I can take that one if you want, Azamat.
Yeah.
So the short answer is no. It's complementary to. There are customers that cannot afford a full-on PDM implementation, and then together with the CAD license that they purchase, cloud services are embedded automatically, giving you the ability to share and mark up, to do revision, to store your data in the cloud, to do engineering change orders, to set certain privileges, and also to set certain workflow procedures in place. So that the intention is not to replace, but to be an alternative for customers who cannot afford a PDM implementation, but also customers that wants to use the data management benefits of the cloud, because PDM is an on-premise desktop solution, whereas cloud services makes use of the benefits of working and sharing in the cloud.
Okay. I also see a question from Raul, new driven dimension features. Yes, if you can contact me afterwards, I'll show you that functionality as well. Unfortunately, I didn't presented it, but I'll gladly show you how it works.
Yeah, do you see other questions?
Shall we able to have linear pattern in 3D Sketch? Yes, there is a pattern capability in 3D Sketch. However, it's somehow limited, but it is possible. You can also again reach out to us, show me your example, and then we can see if. But I've seen that there is pattern capabilities. I just want to see where and how you want to use it. The SolidWorks performance, any changes on SolidWorks performance? Yes, as explained right in the beginning, graphics performance has enhanced immensely, and also the performance when we saving files, importing assemblies, saving assemblies, creating exports. So every year, a lot of effort has been put on into SolidWorks enhancements, especially on performance and saving time. Does the new SolidWorks API function introduced? I'm not too sure. On the API, I need to find out for you again. If you can contact me, I can get that answers for you. I'm not too sure about all the enhancements with API.
Yeah, so I also shared the link to some social networks where you can see some answers, and also to our website where you can request a quote, and our partner will contact you and answer your question and make a demo specially for you.
Azamat, there's another question that I see, and it's, is SolidWorks model stored automatically in the cloud or only when the user wants that? So the answer is when the user wants it, you can still save locally on your server, on your network, on your machine as well. So when we talk about cloud services that is embedded with every seat of SolidWorks desktop that you purchase, you decide how much of the functionality that is available on the cloud services you use. So different customers, but some customers only start with the sharing and markup ability, where that gives you the ability, for example, to share a link with a supplier, a customer, a contractor, and they don't have to have any viewer installed. They don't have to have SolidWorks. They just have to have an internet connection. They click on the link and they can actually see your model. They can rotate it and they can mark it up and send it back to you. And then a next evolution of cloud services is store and revise. That's for customers that feel comfortable to use cloud services for more than just sharing and marking up, but also to revise, to store their data in the cloud. And then there's a third gate, which takes it even further, where you set certain workflows in place. So you decide how much of that cloud services you feel comfortable with, and whether saving to the cloud is one of the components you feel comfortable with or not.
Okay. There's another question regarding SolidWorks Composer. There's not a big changes this year for releases on Composer. Just again, graphic enhancements, but not huge, immense changes. It depends on what version you used to work with. Then the question, any changes related to mold and plastics? On 2022, we had a huge release on plastics. I'm not sure on what version you have. This year there was added materials, added gate locations, added spruce, but plastics is pretty mature, so not huge changes to that.
There's a good question here, Jaco, that I'll read to you and I'll kick the answer
I
off.
was leaving the long one, yeah.
It's from Samuel, and it says, are there specific limitations or considerations to be aware of when opening and collaborating on additional 3D model files from another software? Are there any file size restrictions, compatibility issues, tips, etc.? I think, let me kick it off by saying first, Jaco, that's why we always encourage our customers to come for training with our authorized SolidWorks reseller partners, because there are best practices when working with any piece of software. And part of that best practice is to decide when to add specific attributes and materials, for example, to certain elements. Sometimes unnecessarily we create a heavy model that becomes very cumbersome to manage and to share because it is overweight. And maybe for the specific task we need, we don't have to see all the attributes belonging to a specific member, for example, of an assembly. So that's part of the training that we supply, that it's not always necessary to add everything into the model to make it very heavy. Jaco, if you want to
Exactly,
build on
Marius.
that.
And to build on that, yes, it can be seamless, it can be very productive, but like Marius explained, I always have a saying, garbage in, garbage out. So if we take just something from a client, we don't manipulate it, we don't take out the unnecessary stuff, we don't take out the unnecessary attributes. We can easily bring in making our model extremely heavy. So yes, we can do it. It can be simple, it can be seamless, but I think with a little bit of guidance on how to do it, because there's different ways and options how to do this. If it's just a placeholder, it doesn't need to be as a heavy file. If we need the intelligence, we need to decide what intelligence we need. So I think it comes back to design intent, and we need to decide what we want to achieve with what output do we want to get. And then there's another question, is when the recording will be available. I think within a day or so, Azamat.
Yeah, I think latest tomorrow it will be available, and you have a link to YouTube in chat. I will duplicate it specially for you, and yeah, you can just subscribe and you will see it.
Okay, thank you very much. Over to you, Azamat, for your presentation.
Thank you. Yeah, so Hi everyone, once again, and what I want to announce to all of you is that, as you know, we have several versions of SolidWorks CAD. It's a SolidWorks Standard, SolidWorks Professional, SolidWorks Premium, and we decide to launch a promo especially for our users in Africa. So it's unique promo only for African countries, and you will have the best offer ever, the biggest discount ever on SolidWorks Premium, on annual licenses, on 3-year licenses, on quarterly licenses. And to get more details and to get exact price for your market, you can contact your reseller. And it's pretty easy. You have a link in the chat to request a quote, or after this webinar, our resellers in your countries will contact you. Probably you will register by their invitations, and you can ask them about exact price and exact offer itself. The promo is limited till end of the year, so till end of December, and probably you have some vacation in December, so probably it's better to contact them as soon as possible and to get your offer now. So actually it's very short message, but I encourage you to contact your resellers as fast as possible, because it's maximum functionality from SolidWorks CAD, what you can get, SolidWorks Premium, and the best price ever. So just contact your partners and get your offer. Actually, that's it about promo. Also, I encourage you to follow us on all social networks and other platforms to follow the news and to get always new information, fresh information about SolidWorks. So, Marius?
Yes, thank you, Azamat. So thank you everybody for attending today's webinar. I'm glad that we had the opportunity to present to you. Thank you also for the positive feedback and all the good questions you asked. If any of those questions were not answered, we'll undertake to get back to you. Azamat will also make the recording available by latest tomorrow. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out to your local authorized reseller. If you don't know who that reseller is, you're welcome to reach out to us and we'll put you in contact as well. But continue following us on the different social media platforms that Azamat has shared, and you will stay up to date with latest development, latest offers from our side, and we look forward to an ongoing engagement with you. So thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.